What's
in the
up?
world.
What's up,
And you're
mga
withholding
kaan?
it because deep down you think you're small and that you have nothing to give. Try this for a couple of weeks and see how it goes.
Sabi tayo mga bro.
You think people are withholding from you. Praise, appreciation,
Habang nakikinig kay
assistance,
Eckhart.
love, and so on. Give it to them. So is abundance, I was looking, do you have that question to put back here? There. Email. What's so great about this, I think, is that it's something people can do every day right now, is to start to give that which you say you most want.
Yes. And it starts with recognizing external abundance. That if the act of recognition that there's external abundance, and what that is we'll see in a second, is the act of recognition of external abundance already brings out the abundance that is an essential part of your very being. So when you recognize abundance without, and what I'm suggesting there is to look at, you're walking past a store where there's a display of fruit, apples, oranges, and you see the abundance and the aliveness that is there. You acknowledge it there. Abundance doesn't mean that you need to buy many things. You can buy or not buy. But it's you see the abundance of water, rain falling from the sky. There's an abundance of water. There's an abundance of aliveness. There's an abundance of joy in the dog that's going past you there. And so to recognize, to see the abundance that surrounds you, even if you're very poor in the eyes of the world, the abundance is always there around you, but you need to recognize it, acknowledge it. And another word for that is gratitude.
I know. I was going to say, that's why I've kept a gratitude journal for years.
Yes.
If you keep a gratitude journal, let's say I do this thing, just have the 5 things in the day that made you most grateful. What you start to notice is that there are more things added to your list, and you don't even have time to write them all.
Yes.
And when you start to pay attention to the things, okay? And you also say acknowledging the good that is already in your life is the foundation for all abundance.
Yes. And again, many people make that mistake because they believe that there is nothing good in my life. And that's absurd. It means they are not present. They are trapped in certain stories in their head which tell them continuously that there is nothing good in my life. And if they only opened their eyes and looked around, and if they smelled the air, saw the sunlight, the most abundant thing you can see is the sun.
Well, I think the most abundant thing you can have is your breath.
The breath?
Come back to your breath.
Oh,
yes,
yes.
come back to the breath.
So you can be with that, and
when you can't think of anything to be grateful for, go to your breath.
Breath or the aliveness in your hands and in your arms, to feel that.
Well, the email question from Rosanita in Georgia was to ask you to please explain what you mean by abundance comes only to those who already have.
Yes. Now, abundance, you need to recognize that as coming from within you. Abundance is not something that external things come to you that make you abundant. Abundant is the energy that flows out of you, out of the being of who you are, into this world. So the beginning of, you initiate this process by recognizing the abundance that's all around you externally.
Outflow determines inflow.
And then it suddenly, the recognition already draws it out.
I was going to say, isn't gratitude in itself an energy field that draws more to you? Isn't it its own vibrational frequency
That's right.
that draws more to you?
Yes.
And that's what I interpreted you saying.
That's it.
Is that gratitude is its own energy field.
Yes.
And that when you acknowledge and are grateful for whatever you have, and you can see and feel the gratitude, experience the gratitude in whatever you have, that changes your vibrational frequency, literally.
Yes.
And allows more to be drawn to you.
Yes, it changes your entire reality. It changes the way in which you experience life.
Yes, it does.
It changes your world. And so if that's the only thing people remember, there are many things in this book, but just if they want to change their lives, they're not happy with their lives, bring gratitude into it, which is, of course, connected also to the present moment, because it's only here in this moment. What is it in this moment that I can be grateful
for?
And then you suddenly think, oh, it's all that. There's always, it's miraculous if you truly look around. and sense and feel. It's miraculous. The entire universe is miraculous.
Yes.
And when you are so trapped in your thoughts that you don't see this anymore, then the entire universe becomes dead to you, and there's nothing new that ever arises.
You know, I was practicing this weekend. I was saying to Eckhart before we started that I was under the weather and had an obligation in New Orleans and wasn't able to fulfill that commitment, and normally I would have just been beating myself up about it because I've never had to cancel anything before. But I decided to be with the fact that I was sick, and I had one of the happiest days of my life, being sick in bed, because I accepted it and was not fighting the fact that I wasn't well. I thought, I'm going to be with feeling badly, and I'm going to appreciate everything about the day. So every cup of tea that Stedman brought me, I was happy. And happy that I was, I had clean sheets. And happy that I could open the curtains and there was sun coming through the window. And I just had the most happy time being sick in bed. Yeah, so that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
Being able to be grateful for where you are.
Yes, very powerful.
Yeah, if I hadn't read this book, I might not have been able to do that. So it's been very helpful to me. And you say, go ahead.
So you can even be grateful for things that on the surface don't look so good.
Mm-hmm.
When you accept what is, you're grateful whatever situation arises. Let's say your car breaks down and you have to change the tire in the middle of the night. And even there you can say, okay, we come to this later in the book. It begins sometimes, a so-called negative situation, it begins with not resisting it.
Yes.
And so...
Don't you say in The Power of Now, I just interrupted a thought, but don't you say in The Power of Now that all stress comes from resisting the present moment?
Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't come from the situation. It comes from your thoughts about the situation.
Because the tire needing to be changed by itself could not cause you to be stressed.
No, it just is as it is.
It is as it is.
And if you can see that, then suddenly you move into that, and even there comes gratitude.
Yes. So your stress is about wanting the moment to be different than what it is.
Yes.
And that's whether it's a tire, losing your job, losing a loved one.
Yes.
Okay. And you sum this up, this abundance, by using a quote from Jesus saying, "Give and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap." That is the truth, so help me. That is just the truth.
Yes, it's an amazing statement. And also somewhere else, Jesus talks about...
you must like Jesus. You talk about him a lot.
Oh, yes. There was a time when I was brought up as a Catholic, and then for many years I wasn't interested anymore. Mm-hmm. And then after I went through this inner shift, a couple of years afterwards, I happened to pick up the New Testament and I happened to read the Gospels, and I suddenly saw how deep all this is, these statements.
That's right.
And
it became more than doctrine.
Yes, yes. And so Jesus somewhere else says, I want you to have life in its fullness. I want you to have the fullness of life. And that's a beautiful statement, and people sometimes don't realize what he means by the fullness of life, because in our civilization particularly, the fullness of life means having as many things as possible.
Yes.
And of course, I'm convinced that Jesus was not talking about shopping malls.
No.
Because if he was talking about shopping malls, then the kingdom of heaven has already arrived and it's in the shopping mall. So he was not talking about many things.
Eckhart made a joke, y'all. Eckhart made a funny.
He was talking about something that is within you. The fullness of life is a dimension within you. And he said, I want you to be in touch with that dimension within you.
And you are absolutely right. If you get nothing else from this book, if you can get that, then your life will change.
Yes.
Your life will change.
Yes.
And abundance comes only to those who already have it, page 192. It sounds almost unfair, but of course it isn't. It's a universal law. Both abundance and scarcity are inner states and manifest as your reality. Jesus puts it like this: for to the one who has, more will be given, and from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. And he's not talking about things.
No.
He's talking about your inner state of gratitude for what you already have.
Yes.
The happiest people don't